Good morning, Dr. Mukris. My name is Heng, Matthew number 294045. Today, I want to talk about the what driver student demand for food delivery service. The study explored the growing demand for food delivery service among students at University Utara Malaysia, driven by the diligence and better internet access. The increasing preference for food delivery service is larger due to the convenience, saving student time and offering a variety of food options. Several factors such as income, price sensitivity, and satisfaction with the service quality influence student food delivery choice. This research aims to examine how these factors, including income and utility, affect the demand for food delivery among students, addressing a gap in the existing student within this context. These findings of this study are expected to provide a valuable insight into the student behavior and food delivery service preference at UUM. So we go to the research question. The first one is what are the demographic characteristics of UEM students? The second is does the gender significantly influence student perception of price, income level, utility, and demand for food delivery service among UEM students? In the third is does the different money around affect the price, income level, utility, and demand for food delivery service among UEM students? In the last is there a significant relationship between the price, income level, and utility factor and the demand for food delivery service among UEM students? So we go to research objective. The first one is to identify the demographic characteristic of UEM student, and the second is to analysis whether gender affect the price, income level, utility, and demand for food delivery service among UEM student. In the third is to analysis whether the different money allows affect the price, income level, utility, and demand for food delivery service among UEM student. In the last is to estimate the significant relationship between the price, income level, and utility factor and the demand for food delivery service among UEM student. Chapter 2 is the literature review. Now we move on to the theoretical review. The first one is the price factor. If a food delivery service raises its delivery fees by 10%, students with limited budget may reduce their order significance, indicate high price elasticity. This relation highlights why the price factor is critical in this questionnaire, allowing insight into how pricing affects students for food delivery choice. Second is the income factor. An increase in income shifts the demand curve from D1 to D2, leading to a higher quantity of food delivery service demanded at each price level. Consider a UM student with a monthly allowance of 300 ringgit. With a diet budget, they might limit food delivery to once a week. However, if their allowance increased to the 500, they may afford to order the food delivery more frequently. The third is the utility factor. The utility from food delivery initially rise with each other. However, after a certain point, additional order and less satisfaction may lead a student to limit their units. High satisfaction persists. For a unit UM student journey assignment and exam, food delivery might be a convenience option that provides a high utility. However, as a number of the food delivery wear off or as the student budget dies, the marginal utility from each additional order might be decreased, leading to less frequency uses. The last theory is the theory of demand. The demand curve have a negative slope and downward from left to right. This means when the price increases, the quantity demand will decrease. If a product is a normal good, a person can obtain the same degree of satisfaction for less money when its price drop. Now we move on to the empirical review. The first one is the price factor. According to Partner et al., price elasticity of demand is a derivative of change in demand with reference change in price. This case is that if demand for the food delivery is price sensitivity, the slight change in the price will mean a big change in the quantity demand. In contrast, in elasticity, demand means the price change have a limit impact on the quantity demand. The existence of change substitute the share of the income to be spent on the delivery service. And the importance of the service sharp this elasticity. The second is the income factor. Lau and Ng found that income level has a significant impact on the frequency of service users. Students with a high income were more likely to use OFT service frequency and were more willing to pay a high price for premium service. On the other hand, students with lower income level were more restrained in the usage due to the budget limitation. This relationship underscores the importance of targeting students with varying income level through the marketing and the price strategization. The last is a utility factor. According to the Kema et al., highlighting that male and female consumers show similar behavior in terms of purchasing decision, particularly when the utility factors such as the access time saving and the overall satisfaction are considered. This lack of a significant difference between gender in your study utility factor result choice their observation that will be made and the individual preference. The overall of the demand concern a service such as the food delivery does not significant different across the gender in the term of the utility. Now we move to the chapter 2, which is the methodology. The method used to collect the data is questionnaire. A Google Form server is created and given to the student in UUM. It considers a two element. The first one is the demographic background, and the second is the question about the independent variable. So in data collection procedure, we collect the data via Google Form. In the second is the distribution, which is the question link will be shared to the social media platform, which is the Telegram and WhatsApp. We will share the group to let them to fill in. In the third is the participant engagement. Maybe this the student will take 3 to 5 minutes to fill in this. So in the last is the number of the respondents. So the total is 180 respondents will be collected. Now we move on to the chapter 4, which is the data analysis and finding. Actually, we use the SPS to run our data through the Google Form question. So the analysis include the descriptive statistic, independent sample t-test, one-way ANOVA, and multiple linear regression. And the 4.2 is the demographic breakout. 62% is male, and the percentage is 34.4%. And another is 118 is female, and the percentage is 65.8. In age, the highest one is the 22 years old to 24 years old. We have 133% and the percentage is 73.9. And the lower is 25 years old and above. We have 5% and the percentage is 2.8. And in faculty, the highest one is COP. We have the 113% and the percentage is 62.8. And the lowest one is the colleges. We have the 27% and the percentage is 15. So in current year of study, the highest one is the reality. We have the 107% and the percentage is 59.4. And the lowest one is the year one. We have 16% and the percentage is 8.9. In primary source of the financial support, the higher one is the PTPTN. We have the 106% and the percentage is 58.9%. And the lowest one is other with what we have the 5% and the percentage is 2.8%. In money allowance, the higher one is the 401 ringgit to 500 ringgit with we have 60% and the percentage is 33.3%. And the lowest one is the 601 ringgit and above what we have the 24% and the percentage is 13.3%. In discursive analysis, the higher means is the utility factor, which is the 4.0278. The lowest one is the income factor, which is the 3.8083. Now we move on to the hypothesis testing, which is the independent sample t-test. The first one is the price factor. Say we set the significant level is 10%, that we find the data from SBS is 0.167. Then we should not reject the HOA, and this means there is no significant difference in price factor for food delivery service consumption among UEM students between gender. In income factor thing, we set the significant level is 10%, so we found the data is 0.514, which is more than 10%. That we should not reject the HOP. That this means there is no significant difference in income factor for food delivery consumption among UEM students between gender. In utility factor thing, we set the significant level is 10%, that we found the data is 0.444, which is more than 10%, that we should not reject the HOC, which means there is no significant difference in utility factor for food delivery consumption among UAM students between gender. Now we continue move on to the one-way ANOVA. The Since we set the significant level is 10%, that we found the data from SBS is 0.034, which is less than the significant level. Then we should reject the HOA and accept the H1A, which means there is a significant difference in price factor for food delivery consumption among UM students between gender. Second is the income factor. Since we set the significant level is 10%, then we found the data from SPAS is 0.082, which is less than 10%. Then we should reject the HOB and accept the H1B, which means there is a significant difference in income factor for food delivery consumption among UM students between gender. In the last is the utility factor. Since we said the significant level is the 10%, then we found the data from SBS is 0.296, which is more than 10%. That we should accept the HO0, which means there is no significant difference in the utility factor for food delivery consumption among UM students between gender. So in the Pearson correlation analysis, the multiple regression analysis reveals a key factor influencing the food delivery demand. Utility is the most significant factor, which is a strong positive relationship to demand, which is the coefficient is 0.813 and the p-value is less than the 0.001, highlighting the critical role of the convenience and ease in attracting the consumer. Income also has a positive impact on demand, which is the coefficient is 0.276 and the p-value is 0.002. As an individual with higher income are more likely to use the food delivery service due to their ability to afford the ad cost. In constraint, the price factor show a negative relationship with demand, which is the coefficient is negative 0.233 and the p-value is 0.019, indicating that higher delivery of food price tend to reduce the demand, though impact is greater than the utility and income. The model explains 47.9% of the variation in demand, with the F statistic confirming the significance of the independent variable. Overall, the analysis suggested the convenience and the disposable income are the primary driver of the food delivery demand, while the price sensitivity play a secondary role. This finding highlighting the importance of the improving convenience and the price strategy for food delivery platform. In conclusion, this study highlights the key factor influence food delivery demand among students include the price sensitivity, income, and utility. While gender does not play a significant role, financial background emerges as a critical determinant, particularly in the shaping price sensitivity. Practical and theoretical implications emphasize the need for the targeting strategy by food delivery provider and further exploration of the regionation and the cultural difference. Despite its limitation, this research provides the valuable insight for the stakeholder and seeking to better understand and address the unique preference of student consumer.